Hey guys, so today I want to talk about fear. There's so many things that we are afraid of. Death, disappointment, despair, losing someone or something that you love, not getting good grades in class, losing the game if you play some kind of competitive sport, war, crime, spiders, heights, clowns, that teacher that's always out to get you.
There will be no foolish wand-waving or silly incantations in this class.
So why are we afraid of these things? So the common thing I find in all these different things that we're afraid of is that these things are not based in reality, but rather they're more like a potential bad outcome. Now some outcomes are obviously worse than others, and you probably want to avoid them. Like it's totally understandable if you're afraid of dying or eating those terrible Cheetos mac and cheese. Point is that we are afraid of things that, at least currently, are not real, or things that have not yet happened. That is to say that we are afraid of things that are not true. They're untruths, or sometimes outright lies. Lies like you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, that you can't do something, that you're not cool. Now, I'm a pretty introverted person. I'm one of those people that spends way too much time in their heads and thinks of all these different scenarios that have never happened and probably never will. And I just play through those scenarios in my mind and see how things would go if I had a conversation with this person about this thing, or if this situation were to happen. And sometimes those things can be insightful, but indulging in them a little too much can be dangerous as well, because basically you're playing into your fears. And the thing about fear is that it can be blinding, it can be paralyzing, and it can take over everything if you give into it. So what can we do to be less afraid? So one way to deal with fears is using truth. If fear comes from lies, then truth is basically the greatest weapon that we have against fear. So focus on what's true and not the lies that are being fed to you by your fears. I love this quote from the book Dune, which now is a fantastic movie too. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Also, it's super cool to say fear is a mind killer. The cool thing is that the Bible also talks about fear a lot. In the book of Psalms, one of the most famous passages in the Bible, and verse 4 here says this: "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me." And I love that verse because it implies that these bad things, that these evil things, they're out there, and that bad things will happen to you, and that you will probably go through several dark seasons in your life. But we focus on the truth that God is with us, right there, walking with us through that valley. And because of that, we don't fear the evil that awaits us. We know that God's going to get us through it. So how do we apply this to our day-to-day lives? Well, identify the lies in your fears and the truths that actually break down those lies. If you think that you're going to do terribly on this math test that you have coming up, maybe you think you're not smart enough to do math. Well, understand that that's not true, because all of us can learn things. Now, granted that some of us probably need to work much harder than others to learn the same thing, but the fact is that we're all capable of doing that. And sometimes you might need to ask for help from others, and that's okay. That's what friends and mentors are for. If you're scared of climate change, I admit that that's a bit of a tough one to swallow and difficult to deal with, but we can all play our part in doing things in a more environmentally friendly way. We can challenge others in our lives, our families, our friends. We can even challenge corporations to do better and address the concerns that we have about climate change. And it's not one of those things that will happen overnight, but the idea is that we need to focus on what we can do about it rather than give in to our fears. And last thing, just pray. Pray to God and talk to Him and bring your fears to Him. Lay it all down in front of Him. Know that He will actually carry your burden for you. And find comfort in the fact that even if every single person on this planet abandons you, that God never will. And that He will walk with you through even the darkest seasons of your life. So next time you're afraid, I'd like to challenge you to not give in to those fears. Instead, face them and fight them with truth. That's all I have for now. I hope you guys are staying safe, and yeah, peace out.